Did you watch the parade at all?
It's so interesting you said that, Nick, because hey, welcome to your weekly corner Späti, brought to you by Coinbase. I keep bumming out people at my job by suggesting that they, because you're like, all the stuff that Trump does, it makes it for like water cooler chat or whatever, and I keep just suggesting like, you should watch Trauma Zone, the Adam Curtis documentary about the collapse of the Soviet Union. It just bums everyone out when I suggest that. But no, I'm reaffirmed. That was some end of the Soviet Union ass footage. I'm
so like that. Of course, yes. The peak. This is who you die for. Coinbase and
you die for the like karaoke version of Enter Sandman.
Yeah,
because you couldn't secure the rights to the actual song.
Yeah, or like the most powerful like nuclear arsenal in the world, just like parading to Jump by Van Halen.
Yeah, it's who would have thought that like moving your army to an incredibly professionalized tech-based army rather than say what the North Koreans have, which is massively reliant on infantry and artillery, and would make for a shittier parade.
Aesthetics and drip and
I love if someone just announced being like, and here's all the drones, but you don't see anything because they're just like above visibility in the sky. And it's like, oh, it's like that's what the military is now. They're all being operated from strip malls in Arizona. Yeah, I love a video.
Arizona's number one employer, the U.S. military, actually, and number two is Walmart.
Sense. How many states is the military the number one employer? It's got to be an upsetting amount.
Probably a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the reason why I can turn my license in to Germany and just get a German license.
That's why
Ted explained this to me. Shout out to Ted from Spaßbremse. But, because there's like a list of like, I don't know, 20 something states that you can like turn your license in and get just like a 1-to-1. How do I say copy? But yeah, just like a Umtausch of your license, exchange. And Arizona is one of these states. And I was always wondering of like, I should not have completed my driver's exam. I was very bad at it, but also I should not be allowed on German roads, knowing that that is the way that I got my license. And Ted was like, no, the correlation is between which states have a lot of military bases, because Germany, has
the Ramstein air base effect. Basically.
Exactly, yeah, pretty much. And Germany sends a lot of like people to train in the U.S. Like Lufthansa sends a bunch of pilots to train in Arizona at like Luke Air Force Base and shit like that. Because it's like kind of a very good climate to like train pilots in. It's very dry and there's nothing like too unpredictable that happens.
I've made my opinions known that the idea that each state has to kind of negotiate how its driver's licenses are handled in other countries, I think it's a silly system. Imagine if like the reverse ever happened, like, oh yeah, I'm working for a year in Austria, but unfortunately I have like a Saarland driver's license. That's just like no good here.
Stupid. The funniest one to me was good friend of ours who was in China tried to get her license exchanged but then thought, oh, it would be a good idea to get the like international driver's license. However, the company that does the international driver's license, they list China on it, but they are not talking about the People's Republic of China. They are talking about Taiwan. And so
not even a China brackets Republic of, not even.
I think eventually she was just telling me the sense of that. Then she was like, oh, I got this thing and it's useless because they recognize China as the ROC.
I love having to take that position.
Yeah, whoever AAA, whoever does that is like, no, we are stuck in like, it is still 1968. The Republic of China is China's seat at the UN.
The good version of this kind of happens in Ireland. I remember I went went on a road trip with some friends down to like Waterford, which is in like the southeast, and we stopped in to like get some Chinese takeaway like halfway through the journey because it was really late. And in the waiting area of this Chinese takeaway was a bunch of like very local newspapers, like stupidly local, like mostly talking about like I think okay, so there was like 2 headlines. I'll remember this forever. And it was just like great day out at plowing competition. So it was like talking about like
hell yeah, that's awesome. That's great local news. I want to hear about that.
And then the other one was
who is
Waterford
the best plower in
Yep, and no double entendre here. They mean plowing. Everyone who's in this is ace as fuck. Like a bunch of ace farmers at the plowing competition. But then the second headline was Waterford County Council recognizes the state of Palestine.
Salute.
This was like 2013.
Before it was cool to recognize Palestine.
But it's also just like, yeah, it's been just highlighting how this has been an issue in Ireland for a long time. But it's also just like, I don't think the Waterford County Council should have those powers. Like, I don't think that's a.
Yeah, the Waterford County Council unequivocally supports Iran and their strategic strikes against Israel.
I mean, I'm sure they probably do.
They
but also,
probably
like,
do. Yeah, they're like,
how much does this matter from like a government body that can't even set like how much you get fined for drink driving? Like it's the powers they don't have.
Yeah, they fine you, and then that money goes directly to the Iranian nuclear program.
Yeah, drunk drive for Iran.
Yeah.
Drunk drive, get caught, kill no one, fines go to Iran.
That is like speaking of Iran, that is just a very funny little thing that pops up in this, like in the early Simpsons all the time, is that like one of the things Homer knows way too much about is Iran.
Yeah. That was a good bit that I don't think they've done enough in like new Simpsons, of just like the joke is Homer knows something. Yeah. Like that he shouldn't really. Like the kind of guy that he is shouldn't. And yeah, knowing Iranian court politics.
Yeah, having he has way too much knowledge of like who he feels should be the next Ayatollah and shit. I love that. That is one of the best Simpson bits that gets that very much gets overlooked. But no, I know US, we're a European podcast, politic, whatever you want to call us. We are European politics. We are the entity of itself. I loved it. I don't care what the haters say. It was so bad. Someone commented on a post I made that is the most perfect distillation of this. It is like they said that it is if Darth Vader's theme song was made by Imagine Dragons.
Oh, it like this and the Eurovision, it really does like the uniting factor of like the West. What like the state, like the nation of Germany will be asking you to defend in like probably Iraq in the ground war against Iran. Is some Imagine Dragon style shit. That is what you're defending. That's what the West is.
Yeah, you're defending Radioactive, the theme song of now the war that we have now entered.
The new military government.
Yeah, I really I love how shitty everyone looked and how there was like the thing that was always funny too is like half people were like marching like shit, mind you, looked like ass, and then the other half were just like fucking moseying along on the it was so horrible. And I just look at this and I'm like, it is the most perfect you're right, like the US's military is so hyper focused on like the tech aspect of it that there is no like pomp and circumstance anymore left of the military proper. And like because people are always like, oh, the U.S. never had military parades. The U.S. had military parades like actually up until like after the end of World War II, and then they kind of stopped and became less popular. Like one of the like biggest military parades in like U.S. history was like one for like black troops that came back from World War I or World War II, I think it was, in New York, like in Harlem. Like it was a big deal. And I'm not like, you know, I'm not opposed entirely to the idea then of like a military parade if it's someone I like.
I mean, to be honest, I think that's exactly what was happening with everyone here because okay, before we move on, I do
like
the
think PKK does military parades or the YPG. Those look fucking cool. All right.
Yeah, they're a lot more like, look, again, Ciarán puts on his I enjoy a live spectacle hat that I usually wear during Eurovision season.
Yeah, you enjoy a North Korean military parade.
It's got similar vibes to a Eurovision show, so yeah.
That's the thing too, is that then how is a campy, queenie president like Trump not doing a big, like, come on, this is too straight for someone who's like obviously like the like culturally gayest president we've ever had.
Where's your flair? Where's your showmanship?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I mean, even just like having some multimedia things mixed in, like cut to all the weird strip malls who are flying the drones. Just
we salute you. You know.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Here we are in a part of Oklahoma you forgot existed. And just like off the
population 2,000 people. Everyone is a drone pilot.
Everyone is a drone pilot off in the corner of like, just they frantically move the camera to shy away from all those YouTubers who explore abandoned malls who have been killed by finding this place accidentally. Like shit like that. Like, you know, it could have been fun. And I do find America's opposition in the moment, I don't mean like parliamentary kind of opposition. I mean just like people on the ground defending themselves against like, you know, America's Gestapo. They're great. And I like that they've also used this as like, it's a weird thing that's kind of happening and I don't really approve or like it.
Oh yeah, it is very of the times stupid and bothersome. And I will say too, like I have been seeing a lot of friends of mine who normally don't get politically active, like out at stuff lately in the US, which is always very cool. The last time that this happened was like after George Floyd, like Black Lives Matter stuff. And like not to like take away from the serious stuff that then of course is happening in the US. That's like, you know, there is like a bunch of horrific shit, but it is just like, it is so weird how unprofessional all of it is, you know?
Yeah. It's weird that like the military country plus the showbiz country couldn't make this look good.
Yeah, like they dropped the fucking ball.
None of the fucking bleachers were packed out. According to people who were there, like reporters are like, the ending of the show wasn't clear. People just kind of like petered out. And these were like, you know, diehard MAGA people, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I think that they were too busy trying on like Stinger missiles and M249 Saws guns that were, you know, also in some area that they could like pose with and take pictures of. That was the goofy. Like, I think it was what's his name from the Coexist podcast like said that then like this is American, like MAGA Disneyland. Like, yeah,
it's also like it's. I also kind of find it strange that some people are even so opposed to the idea of this, because I think the reality of it is I'm not sure the No King's Day or whatever this is called stuff would have happened without like the ICE stuff. I think like both build into each other, because at the same time I'm just like, I associate America with just like, yeah, we're going to start our game of sports that we play and no one else does. I'm going to start it with just a bunch of jets flying over.
Yeah, exactly. The NFL has a contract with the Department of Defense exactly for recruitment.
Yeah, and it's just like that's like, first of all, that started Bush era.
Because that was that. I mean, that was a huge thing, because that was being a boy from Phoenix, Arizona. The biggest event that happened post 9/11, and I will still stand by this because it is kind of the way that sports has been treated afterwards, is that then the only sport that was still kind of like finishing in season after 9/11 was baseball. Like NBA started afterwards, like or whatever. And the World Series that year was the Diamondbacks against the Yankees. And so that was, of course, then a big thing that like, oh, New York's going to bring the World Series back, this and that and that. And like you have the images of which people may have seen them and not even realize what they're from, of like George W. Bush like throwing out the first pitch of like Game 3 in Yankee Stadium, the first game in New York City or in the Bronx for that series. And then there was like every single night after the national anthem, there was like something that flew over. And then for Game 7, it was like a B-2 bomber, and that was like a huge deal. And like everyone was like, whoa, like, isn't this so fucking cool? This and that and that. Da, 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 da. And like the 2001 World Series really kind of like sets the present, like kind of casts the die for how the U.S.'s like military industrial complex becomes an integral part of sports. And like great that it happened in my home city. Great that my hometown team won that World Series that year. I'm beyond stoked of that. That is still, I will argue with any baseball fan that Game 7 of the 2001 World Series is the best baseball game ever. And suck it. But yeah, it was that entire series was so packed with like, oh, post 9/11 trauma, this and that, which was like to a degree understandable, of the sense of like, New York, at least like from the perception of like New York trying to like get over this, and they had this big sports event, it brought the city together, blah 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 blah. Like there was also these events of like when the Mets came back to play, that like the catcher for the Mets, Mike Piazza, was like wearing like a like NYPD or like FDNY fucking helmet or something like that, which like all that stuff culminates like in this era and then kind of like never goes away. Like it has just stayed kind of encased in this, like, let's get back to that high that we had in the tail end of the 2001 MLB season and just like drag it on for 20 something years. So, yeah. And it was honestly back then it was done better. And this isn't me saying it because I was like 9 years old at the time or whatever. 9. That level of the like early Bush post 9/11 fascism kind of we heart our troops whatever stuff was done better. It just was. The optics were better.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I mean, we have to move on from this topic and be like,
oh no, of course. Yeah, we have like, we'll talk about the United States, and then we'll talk about, the other United States. That's Israel.
Yeah.
The 51st state.
It's all fucking connected. Yeah, I still kind of, I know people like to particularly get upset at Trump as this aberration in America, but like this shit fucking started with Bush too.
Absolutely.
At the very least.
100%. Yeah. It started because of the 2001 World Series.
I can't believe the 2001 World Series did 9/11. Anyway. Yeah, so it's hey, big day in the news. Big week in the news for real news heads, which is, our listeners, I guess. Because it looks like World War III is gonna happen.
Yeah, World War III lean Gucci Man's mixtape. It's dropped.
World War III already just reaching for the title of dumbest world war.
Can you make that the show art? The show art, yeah. I'll send you it.
You send me that, yeah.
Thank you.
I can make it happen. Yeah, World War III, it's gunning to be dumber than World War I somehow. Which like,
I don't know. World War I was pretty fucking stupid.
Oh, it was so stupid, but we can see it now with like Israel just sending, messages to like Germany, France, UK, and America being like, please send troops and firebombs. Only you can stop the malevolent force of the Black Hand spreading from Bosnia. I mean, the Ayatollah or whatever. Where do we start with this? Okay, I mean, something that's not being said in most media, except, credit where credit due, like the Financial Times. Israel attacked first.
As they typically do.
As they typically do. I always have to remember that, like, because we are, German-based podcast, we should keep in mind that we are, like, some people's introduction to
Iran,
like, is real bad. Like, right? This is some of our listeners are quite young. Some of them had the German sickness where like understanding Israel was just basically ignored for a very long time. Yeah, so Israel attacked first. They claimed it was a preemptive attack because, as they've been saying for the last 30 years, Iran is on the verge of making nuclear weapons.
No, dude, it's because the hostages are being held in an Iranian nuclear facility, obviously.
Something like, yeah, it's crazy.
What about what happened to them? This is
just the BBC miniseries Chernobyl redone of just like, yeah, the reactor failed because we kept putting in Israeli hostages instead of like, I don't know, uranium. It's like, there's got to be another way to make nuclear power. God damn it. So yeah, that happens. They managed to kill a handful of like Iranian commanders by committing war crimes. First of all, big war crime, the ultimate war crime established after World War II, the war of aggression.
Yeah. You also cannot attack a nuclear facility. That is a massive war crime.
Yeah.
Even the IAEA came out and they're all like, yeah, like you can't do this. This is a big fucking no-no.
And yeah, this was a huge like discussion when it was talking about the power plant in Zaporizhia.
Zaporizhia, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like there was this big, somehow we can forget that. Oh yeah, if Israel behaves the exact same way as Russia, actually, Russia never then did attack never successfully attacked the power plant. There was always there was sabotage that was done, this and that. Israel launched fucking missiles that hit nuclear facilities.
They never attacked. I don't believe they ever attacked in such a way that was like, and this will cause the whole thing to fucking explode.
Yeah, no, they because remember that was a really big thing at the beginning of the war of Russia and Ukraine, is that then you had this very weird part where then you had Russian and Ukrainian soldiers having to be stationed around nuclear power plants like Chernobyl, and everyone's like, this is bizarre. It's because these can not be attacked.
Because it causes untold environmental damage.
And then both Russia and Ukraine kept reporting that then each other is trying to sabotage Zaporizhia or whatever, or these other power plants, which very well both could be true. For all I fucking know.
And then it then became a kind of ground offensive thing where you could theoretically take a power plant in such a way that you don't blow it up.
Yeah.
Which is not what Israel did.
Yeah,
they also
Israel plays the way that I does war the way that I play Red Alert 2.
Yeah. This is how I play Civ 6 or whatever.
Yeah, I will attack your nuclear facilities, and then when it blows up, it does go green everywhere.
Yep, that's kind of what we don't want to happen. We don't want parts of the Middle East to go green everywhere. So there's that. They also took out a handful of commanders by blowing up civilian apartment blocks, killing women and children.
Israel would never do that. What are you talking about?
Of course not. No. And naturally enough, Iran has retaliated. And then of course, with Iran retaliating, you get reminded of the big kind of scare that we had in liberal press from I want to say a year ago, which was hypersonic missiles. Because Iran has those. And they pretty handily get past the Iron Dome.
Oh yeah, they you can't there was a really I don't know how you reminded me of this just now, but there was a really stupid, obviously fake story that was going around the Kyiv Independent that was grandma shoots down hypersonic missile, and I'm like, no, and it was being shared around dipshit Ukraine Twitter stuff. I'm like, you people are dumb. That thing goes Mach 3. Also seeing the video of that thing just blasting into the military defense thing of headquarters of Israel is no, nothing is stopping that. Because even though the Patriot systems that the United States sent to Ukraine were very good at taking out, conventional missiles, But yeah, Russia's hypersonic missiles, which I'm pretty sure Iran just has them, that they've like just pretty much bought from them.
I believe China also developed them. I think it's actually more the China connection.
Yeah, I know, but it's like I really kind of doubt the sense that then like I could be wrong, but yeah, it seems that then it's probably just something that then like Iran has gotten from another country. But nonetheless, yeah, they're incredibly effective and they're fucking scary as shit. Like, not that then like a conventional bombing isn't horrifying, but Iran has like managed to like, one, the hypersonic missile is fucking scary, and then have you ever seen the like the suicide drones that Iran uses, like video footage of them?
No.
Most horrific thing you will ever see, because it is just a big drone. It flies very slow and then just like lobs itself into a building. Like, it's not like a missile. There's no like tail thing or whatever. It's just this like weird like oblong shaped sort of thing that just crashes itself into things. But yeah, what are those fucking thing called again? I don't remember. But yeah, Russia was using those for a while too, and that was like a big deal with that because they were, again, like they're cheap as shit. And they were just lobbed at fucking everything. But yeah, Israel can take all those down with the Iron Dome, no problem.
Yeah, because I think people forget how big military drones are, because I think people are so used to seeing like hobbyist drones,
the DJI ones or whatever.
Yeah, that I got from like Temu or whatever. No, the like military drones are like kind of like the size of helicopters, at best, like. So yeah, that's all happening. We can talk a little bit about reaction. My favorite one is our favorite Twitter account, Germany's Diplo. Did send out like a message being like, we condemn Iran's attack on Israel. They sent that out before the counterattack from Iran even happened. It was just Israel had launched missiles for Pride or whatever. And yeah, it's that's just like fucking absurd. I dislike how much this might work to rope in countries. I think Germany has already kind of like fallen for it or will go along with this to an extent. I still think there's like still like enough Germans to be like, if this looks like they're going to fucking lose, they will pull out.
Yeah, the thing that then is just that I think that really dumb countries like Germany or the UK, obviously the United States, we don't even need to really mention them, will get behind it, is that then like Netanyahu immediately then said that, oh, like these are like, you know, oh, Iranian people, stand up, like now is your time, we're helping you. And it's like, no, you're one, like you're not, like, and there was like, I saw the most psychotic op-ed in Jüdische Allgemeine that then is just like Israel, we're Iran, we are helping you, like now it's like just reiterating the Netanyahu shit, but like believing it, you know, they're like, oh, like Israel's a force of good in the world, these strikes are so that then we can like, you know, overthrow, you know, your oppressive regime that's oppressing you, and this and that and that and da 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 da. And it's like Iranians aren't stupid, and like it's the thing too, is that like if you've met like any normal Iranian, they're like, yeah, no, like no one really likes the government. It's like this weirdly like clunky thing that like has a lot of influence and power, but then is like not really like genuinely liked by people, just kind of like is supported by like a specific conservative class of
and then there
Iranians.
And there was always the kind of tension of like, you know, Western news sources kind of assuming that dislike of the government in Iran, which is real, meant that they would like be people who would happily go onto their side. But actually, you're getting the reverse now, where like now that things have kicked off with Israel, you're just like, well, you've actually just saved the Iranian government, basically.
Yeah. Like nothing works better than to like round up people against a cause like Israel than when Israel attacks them. I mean, we see this with like, you know, the most extreme example of this is obviously like North Korea, right? Like you have a country that then was like genocided and starved by the United States, that then is like closed off pretty much because the United States has it closed off to the rest of the world, and has just developed this like legitimate yet also like kind of like psychotic like worldview and hatred of the United States. You know, like the hatred of the United States is legitimate. The, you know, apparatus of what holds North Korea up is a bit like just kind of bonkers. But nonetheless, it like legitimizes the state quite a bit because there is this constant fear of like, you know, yeah, like the United States does the like largest military drills every single year, just like right outside of North Korea, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. The Iran got the like the regime of Iran definitely just got like their like, yeah, the biggest support that they could have gotten from Israel.
Yeah, and this was always like I mean, this has been a political factor for a lot of Muslim countries in the region, of just like people have like pointed to, I think Seamus has mentioned that like the Houthis aren't actually particularly popular, but their attacks against Israel are, and that's kind of like what keeps getting them, like keeps buying them legitimacy. You also have like the kind of song and dance that like Saudi Arabia is forced to do, because like everyone in Saudi Arabia wants something done about Israel and what they're doing to Palestine, but like the government of Saudi Arabia is like, what if we just cozy up with Israel for money? So like it's been a song and dance that basically every country in the region has to do, and I think any of the countries that have tried to not, well, basically any of the countries who are like, we're going to be friends with Israel or we are going to not challenge them, is now going to be in a fucking massive bind. Like I think this war represents a pretty existential crisis for like that new Syrian government.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how they could fucking possibly maintain their like, we're going to be best friends with the West kind of like attitude that they have currently.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing this too within like the caravan, like in North Africa, where like Egyptian authorities are like, you know, arresting and causing problems for people trying to
Irish
like
politicians, like,
huh? Yeah, yeah.
there.
I mean, not even just like, you know, Egyptian citizens, but also like, you know, other people who are there too.
Passports seized and things like that.
Yeah, and it is this like very like, it is this very weird thing of like, there is, yeah, like the political class of like Egypt is like, it's Egypt and Jordan, I think, are two that then a lot of people just like forget about, or like very much pro-Israel, you know? Like they like the general feelings of people in the countries obviously are very anti-Israel and very pro-Palestine to a degree. But yeah, those countries are left afloat by the sense that they are pro-US and that they will like, they are pretty much, they have to succumb to whatever Israel wants them to do. Whether it be that then of like, oh, we're not going to let people into the border, you know, cross the border, this and that, because yeah, since like Egypt has been a another U.S. satellite state, or Jordan is just a U.S. military base, you know, like there is, because this is this thing that then that like every German like every dipshit German journalist who's just genuinely a moron. It's like, what about the Islamic countries, you know, the Arab countries nearby? It's like, yeah, they're all controlled by the United States except for Lebanon. You know, like,
yeah,
the reason why they don't do anything is because they like, yeah, like you said, either they do the like UAE or Saudi Arabia thing of like, oh well, you know, money, hey, that is good for us, or they do the thing of like, our country has literally been overthrown 3 times by the United States. We're just going to keep this in place. Or the Jordan thing of, we've always been this bizarre country that then's pro-US.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think one of the things that we and plenty of others have talked about is like how this whole genocide is basically destroying the legitimacy of, I would say, like all governments. Like no government is coming out of this well, like not even like China. Like I think China has the resilience to like withstand the criticism of them. Like they put out some statements being like, Israel, calm down or whatever, but like I think it'd be very strange for China to start doing any kind of interventionism now, when they just basically don't do interventionism. But they're also like relatively rich and powerful and not ideologically committed to Israel the same way like the Americans are, that they'll probably be fine. But like no one's going to, the history books is not going to look on favorably on anyone except for possibly Yemen. Like on this and Iran, but even then people would probably be like, well, they kind of did shit when they got attacked. I was reading really interesting thing about Ireland's attitude to World War II. Like I was reading a lot of like reports and discussions about World War II while like, we were neutral on the sidelines. And they came up with the most interesting divide of the Allies that I think I'd never heard of before, which was because usually people would be like, oh, Western Allies and the Soviet Union, right? That's usually how people would divide the Allies. They divide them in the sense of like the good Allies were France and the UK, and the bad Allies were America and the Soviet Union. And because their logic was America and the Soviet Union only got involved when they were attacked. France and the UK stepped in because another country was attacked. And they that's more honorable. Which is like such an interesting divide I'd never heard of before.
I've never looked at it that way before, but yeah, okay.
So I'm just like, I don't think anyone's reputation, like the legitimacy of governments in Europe, fucked based on like what is happening with Israel and Palestine. Absolutely, just like letting a genocide happen, no matter how many words like Irish officials make, Spanish officials make, never mind going into the like German stuff of like, yeah, this is good actually.
Because that's the thing too, is that then now we've seen this like, Germany had this moment of like, oh, Israel's like maybe not following like, human rights law or like doing something bad. They would never throw around the word genocide. They'd just be like, oh, Israel is not behaving. Maybe it's like, maybe they're going too far. Now the Iran stuff has allowed has allowed Germany just to like just to get right back into step with things with Israel. And it's like we can forget about what happened a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so like European involvement stuff that I want to get into before like I have a lovely little an article for us.
Thank you. I think I already know which one it is, and thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so before I get into that, there is like, it's really interesting watching like this kind of like force a handful of European countries back into like the pro-Israeli stuff after like a kind almost, it seemed like coordinated effort to begin criticism of Israel again, that we talked about last time. Yeah, it's upsetting the things that we have that are purely kind of like possibly speculation at the moment. There's like some sources of it, like flight tracker stuff, but I don't know how legitimate that is. Like a German refueling plane turned on their transponder for like a hot second and people noticed it was in the Middle East and like Israel probably refueling some jets. So people are like, oh no, that's probably bad. Don't rope us into World War III, please. And then the other one is the kind of, again, based on flight tracking, Zion 1 or whatever it's called, the Air Force One equivalent for Israel.
Was in Greece.
Flew to Athens. And everyone kind of thinks that Netanyahu is basically in Athens now.
Let the Greeks at him, please. A country that like 90% of the country just fucking hates Israel. Go for it.
Yeah, it's super interesting because he's putting out clips that like will fight, and some people are like, I don't know, they're all very controlled shots. It really could be Greece because it's basically the exact same climate. But it could also be Israel. I don't know. Jury's out on that. It's funny to imagine that he has
probably like the Ottomans. Maybe Israel thinks that Greece is also a part of Israel.
Oh yeah. Like
who fucking knows? Greater Israel includes me.
Greater Israel is just like the whole globe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's all stuff that could be happening, and the implication there, if that is happening, like again, Greece is failing their ICC duties or whatever to like arrest Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, I mean, the current Greek government is a vassal state of Germany. We know this.
Yeah. It's if it's going to be Greece, it's not going to be ND who does it. Although funny to imagine.
God, this just has me thinking of like in the 80s, there were just like Greece had some of the wackiest terrorist attacks that had ever happened. Like there was it may have been the November 17th movement, but I'm not entirely sure. There was just a guy who just got an RPG and just shot it at the cars of like US Navy officers.
God,
return Greece. Return.
Yeah, it's interesting watching all that happen at the same time. Opposition to Israel also feels like it's ramping up to a certain extent. Like, so one of the people who went to the Freedom March, I believe, the one that went across North Africa, that's the name for it, was like an opposition MP, like TD from Ireland, Paul Murphy, went out there, got seized by Egyptian border guards, passport confiscated until he was like deported. And it's like, yeah, this was someone who was always critical of Israel, but this is an escalation. Like he wouldn't have done this before. This is similarly, you had what's her name, Rima Hassan, the like MEP from France, who's was on the Freedom Flotilla with Greta Thunberg, being sent to like solitary confinement in Israel and then coming back and holding like a massive demonstration within France.
I still think the like silliest thing of all this is that Israel is like, oh, we're gonna make them watch the October 7th footage, and I'm like,
that's Israel Katz has one move.
Yeah, like you're gonna watch it's like, don't like, all right, like hypothetically speaking, I get kidnapped by Israel, they sit me down, show me October 7th. I gotta be honest, that's not changing my mind pro you guys. Like,
yeah, it's a strange move. I don't really know what their agenda is, because it's like, yeah, like Greta Thunberg's gonna watch that and be like, yeah, you're right, you guys,
yeah,
Israel.
This is all just, you starving all of Gaza and committing a genocide. This is all worth it because, yeah, like fucking, yeah. And I know that I'm stealing this joke from Nick Mullen, but yes, the Hamas in Mario Karts went over the like went into the fucking music festival or whatever. It's Israel Katz's plan of just like, I'll show them this snuff film that I have, and then at the end of it they'll be like, yeah, Israel has a right to defend itself, everything you're doing is great, Gal Gadot is a good actress, etc. Like whatever it is that you're trying here, I don't know. Because he also did this for when the Spanish, Norwegian, and Irish ambassadors were expelled. Before they were expelled, they had to be showed this movie. That was like a year ago. Yeah, it's like showing like reefer madness to children who are like, you thinking about smoking weed.
Israel Katz is just like Israel's like DARE program guy.
Does not work.
No, it doesn't. And he doesn't really want to be there. He just wants to be on like, United Citizens Brigade or whatever. He wants to be UCB. He wants to get on SNL and be like a proper improv comedian or whatever, but he's stuck doing this. Yeah, it's so stupid, like all of this, but like it does feel like it's heightening to an extent where it doesn't feel tenable anymore. Like, maybe I'll eat my words here, but I don't think anyone is going to, like, what armies could they deploy that anyone's going to, like, give a shit about? There's, like, a ground invasion of Iran seems like a bad idea.
It is the stupidest thing that you could possibly ever do, especially, like, they've done war games of this, and they're hilariously bad. You're like, I think that then probably a good portion of our listeners are probably aware of the Millennium Games or whatever the fuck they were called, where like the U.S. ran war games against Iran and just got fucking decimated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like
Yeah.
and then they like had to like backtrack. The US military was like, oh well, like, you know, the general who was supposed to be Iran in this scenario, like they had an unfair advantage, this and that and that. They tried to like play it down. Because like the thing that he did in it is that he realized that then he's like, oh well, to get around the US and their like hyper tech oriented you know, military systems is just to like don't do that. And then there's a part of it where then he also just like makes, which, you know, Iran does have the capability of this now, of like suicide. Now he didn't have drones back then, but there were suicide boats that he would just ram into like destroyers in the like whatever, the Persian Gulf, and took out the entire US fleet that way in this war game and whatnot, which Iran has these suicide drones which function the exact same way. You know,
just
so
pay off that guy, like, or even just like, like ideologue, like turn the guy whose job is like turn him into a sleeper agent, whoever is in charge of like buttering the floor of an aircraft carrier, so all those F-35s keep slipping into the ocean or whatever.
I don't think they slip into the ocean. I think they just throw them overboard. They're like the United States Navy is the world's #1 like ocean polluter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like,
I look forward, like I
they
said,
do
last
just
time,
throw shit into the water.
Like I said, I look for like ages ago. I look forward to drinking a little bit of that jet. Just like it's gonna make it into my fucking drinking water at some point. God damn it! It doesn't feel. I'm gonna eat these words. Like, hey, I'm putting on record. I'm gonna eat these words. It's like it doesn't feel like this can last, and it doesn't feel like there's gonna be any popular support. It doesn't feel like I think we're just going to genuinely see probably the countries in between the two, Israel and Iran, kind of erupt into chaos. I think we're going to see Iran,
Syria, and Iraq, like two incredibly stable countries,
right? I mean, there was already as soon as these missiles started launching, there was like reports coming in that like the U.S. embassy in like Iraq is just getting like rushed and taken over. I don't know what's happened with that. I haven't been paying attention, but it's also just like, yeah, now we're just going to give an opportunity for like Hezbollah to regroup. The tenuous situation in Syria to probably just get like worse.
Yeah, I do, because like people are like, oh, I do. All right, I'm gonna disagree with you here. I think that the United States is gonna get involved because this is a really, really, really stupid administration. I think that the United States is gonna like probably even like fucking like reinstate the draft or whatever or something. So if I do get drafted into the U.S. military, I'm just gonna let the military know, do not send me. One, I can't go. I don't qualify. I'm blind, mentally ill. I'm gonna shoot myself or shoot someone next to me, or even better, I'm just gonna desert and like just go join the IGRC. Like, just sorry. Like, you're not gonna convince me on this one. Yes, I know Iran ideologically a very conservative, weird country, but like, you'd be drafting me into like team very, very evil, where I could just go to team slightly evil. Like I would desert. I would, I'd learn Farsi. I'd become one of those like just jacked Iranian bodybuilder guys. Who like lip syncs to Iranian songs all the time on social media. You cannot I'm not that I think that would happen. I'm kind of safe here in Germany, but don't bother. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, the idea of like trying to draft for this, I would like to see that attempted, because
wildly unpopular.
It's gonna be so unpopular. I look forward to like, just a weird set of circumstances that results in another generation of like liberal Canadian politicians. That's usually what these things.
Yeah.
Because that's always that. I don't know if people know this, but like, I had this conversation like with someone recently of just like, oh, isn't it strange how there isn't like a kind of like American in exile pocket? Like, there's like, there's places where there's Irish people, like Australia and like whatever. Or there's like places where there's German people. It's like, isn't it funny there isn't like an American one that has left an impact? It's like, no, there's actually like, one out of like every 20 politicians in like Canada is either someone who went there dodging the draft of Vietnam or the children of someone who went there dodging
Yeah,
the draft
yeah,
of Vietnam. Like, there is like an American Canadian population caused by like this as well.
Yeah, dodging the like that's the thing too, is that then like you're gonna literally like you're gonna see that like anyone who is stupid enough, especially after the like post 9/11 wars, to then be like, oh, I'm still so stoked on this. I love the U.S. I love the U.S. military. I'm gonna go die for Israel, literally. You're stupid. Like you just like if I don't know, you get out in the middle of the desert. Like, is it really worth it? Is it like
I think there'd also be like mutinies probably.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
This is, like,
no, 100%. Oh, yeah. You would
thing.
have like the sense of like, yeah, I don't know, fucking like people throwing grenades into their like officers' like quarters and shit like that. Like people would not want to go.
Or just like the American army just kind of becomes like what the Chetniks were to the Allies. They just keep siding with them.
Yeah. I mean, the reference that I made of throwing a grenade into your officer's thing happened a lot during the Iraq War, actually, because of exactly that. There was it doesn't get like talked about as much, but like there was a general distaste amongst also too, why like Pat Tillman was killed was because he was incredibly dissatisfied with the war, and they were like, no, we can't let this guy go on a literal book tour with Noam Chomsky to talk about how evil the Iraq War is. Like Pat Tillman literally compared the United States to like the Nazis on multiple occasions. So yeah, like I mean, you'll have that amplified by like I don't know, like by 10, because this is it's so much in the sense that then obviously the interests are like so I don't know. Yeah, if it wasn't more like explicit, looping back to the fucking parade of like, U.S. Army brought to you by Coinbase.
Brought to you by Coinbase, a very legitimate company.
Yeah, if the contradictions aren't just like screaming at you right now, then
it's stop. Like, I mean, it's a hack point now on like the internet, but like, stop giving Adam Curtis like B-roll to use in, like, a future documentary.
He's made enough documentaries. Leave the man alone. He's getting old.
All right, I've got to close this out today. I have an article. We love articles.
I love reading. You know me.
Love reading.
I love a good book. I love a good article, which I'm assuming this is coming from Politico, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my god, yes. I read you like a fucking book. Books, which I love because I love reading.
Politico. It's politico.com, not politico.eu, unfortunately. The politico.eu is our usual go-to, but it is my favorite genre of Politico articles, which is Matthias Dupfner has just burst into the room being like, I've got to spit some fire, and no one is allowed to edit me because I'm the fucking boss. So let me just write whatever the fuck I want, and everyone in Politico just be like, yeah, I guess. So
I love when he just bursts into the door and just starts doing the like rap god fucking shit. We never needed it, but yeah, you're gonna do it.
Yeah. So Politico opinion, foreign affairs. Iran's target isn't just Israel, it's us. They do their disclosure. Matthias Dupfner is the chair and CEO of Axel Springer, Politico's parent company.
Yeah, I am currently sending the coordinates of the Axel Springer Verlag's main building to the IGRC.
just take this out. Just this one building in Potsdamer Platz. Look, do it on the weekend. No one is there.
They would do that, and then they would win the local Berlin elections.
What, Axel Springer? Their new party?
No. Iran.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, just Checkpoint Charlie bombed. No one cares.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Did you get the Currywurst Museum? No. Oh, this is our 9/11. Just a fucking cursed part of the city. Okay. All right. So we got some fire. It's not particularly long because he can't expect this guy to work.
He can't. Yeah, he's never actually like done work in his life. He writes like 3 paragraphs and was like, "Whew, I broke a sweat doing that."
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if this is Grok that wrote this anyway, so let's just check it out. Okay, it opens. When a society can no longer distinguish between good and evil, between victim and perpetrator, it gives up. That's it. That's the opening. Rich coming from a German man. Anyway, this dynamic is one of the great constants of human history. It is a lesson people in free societies and people in totalitarian societies who yearn to be free should keep in mind during the climatic showdown underway in the Middle East. Israel has struck a blow to prevent Iran from developing nuclear bombs, weapons that it might credibly use towards stated goal of removing Israel from the planet. Make no mistake, this is not simply a matter of regional security, nor should it be a proxy war for whether one supports or opposes the current Israeli government's policies in Gaza and other subjects. This conflict is a central front in global contests in which the forces of tyranny and violence in recent years have been gaining ground against the forces of freedom, which too often are demoralized and divided.
Yeah, the AI wrote that.
Yeah, there's a lot of M dashes here.
That's not written by a human. Also, like, are you threatening me with a good time?
Yeah, it's okay. So he's trying to bring back the very like 2003 civilizational conflict.
When we were in Dublin, you and me, and there was that bookstore that was like the rise of Al Qaedaism or whatever. Remember that?
Yes,
exactly that, and that was like fucking 2002, 2003 bullshit. Yes,
yeah,
that is. We've never left there. It just changes now. Actually, it's not the fucking crazy Sunnis that we don't like. It's now the Shias. We were wrong the whole time. They are Iran's the new Al Qaeda, whatever. Yeah, fucking go on.
But like even he's not getting the memo of just like ISIS is good now or whatever. He's doing the thing of he's conflating the two. Like, I think he gets into it later. Give me a second. In a world full of bad actors, Gal Gadot, Iran is the most aggressive and dangerous totalitarian force of our time.
I mean, like Russia literally invaded another country.
Yeah,
you have it's like you can't even like that statement. Even if I'm a fucking dumb, stupid lib, can't even take that. What Iran's bombed Israel twice?
Well, it's also like it is like you haven't updated the script.
Yeah, for 20 years.
Since 2002. Yeah. Because like you can't be like, this is the greatest force of the world. You at least, as the Politico neocon, have to at least address Russia. Come on.
Yeah, like I don't know what, like 1.5 million people have died in the like Russian-Ukraine conflict. Yeah, but sure, fine. Yeah, it's Iran who has like hit Israel twice.
Yeah, the country that like I keep seeing these things of like, will Iran return to the negotiating table? It was like they were at it, we made a deal, and then Trump
and
scrapped
they attacked
it.
them on the day that the negotiations were going to happen.
It's just like, why would we ever negotiate with you ever again? And all the like weird liberal posturing thing is being thrown out the door. Like a clip that I saw getting circulated, it was like a woman in the streets not wearing hijab, just being like, we need to build a nuke, and everyone around her is kind of like agreeing with her, like incredibly conservative looking Iranians, regular looking Iranians. They're all just like, yeah, just like we need to fucking build a nuke now. It's none of this bullshit's gonna fucking anyway. Its leaders seek to weaken and destroy free society, democracy, and human rights with Russian and Chinese support. Okay, so we mentioned the other boogeyman.
We got it, yeah.
Yeah, wrap it up. Do the hits. In Iran, women are systematically oppressed and abused. Homosexuals are murdered. No, they have like that weird kind of like forced transing surgery.
Yeah, the forced transing surgery, and there are no gay people in Iran.
Yes, because of the transing surgery.
Yeah. That's the thing, though, too, is that like it really like I hate to harp on this, but it is really the sense of like the whole women Iran thing is like the people who spout that shit out have never met an Iranian, particularly an Iranian woman. Because like if you ever talk to an Iranian, they're like, yeah, this thing's stupid, but like it doesn't function the way that then like the West like thinks that it does. Like you can just like pay not to do it. You know,
Yeah.
yes, there is that weird police. Yes, it like functions. It's very class based more than it is like religious based. If you're a rich Iranian, they never wear a hijab because they just pay the fine every time that they see the police officer, whatever the officer is, or they're not even in rich areas because they don't actually fucking care. Like if you observe this from the actual politic of what it is, the class issue, then you know it gets washed away like quite quickly. That is like, oh, it's this like, no, it's like if I'm rich, I don't have to like follow the dumb religious laws in Iran, you know. But but yeah, I mean that whole shit's like an op half the time anyway, if it isn't so fucking obvious. But yeah, I just wanted to air that out because I see that all the time, and I'm like, none of you know how this country functions. Not that I'm like a great Iran expert, but it's like I know enough people who are from Iran. They're like, yeah, no, that's not how this happens.
Yeah, I mean, this next line, those who think differently are imprisoned and tortured, is like, I don't know, man. It kind of seems like they actually have pretty robust political debate. Like, there was huge talk about like who the next Ayatollah was going to be, like who the next prime minister was going to be. And there was a diversity of candidates, and the guy in charge was like meant to be a moderate figure, and he was, because they don't have a nuclear program.
Yeah,
you may fucking
Iran dropping the ball, actually, if you ask me. I mean, yeah, like Iran has, you know, yeah, like there are like executions that happen there, like that stuff, like this, like there is a good portion of it that then is true, but it's like these countries also like support Saudi Arabia and like
fuck off, man.
The UAE, like countries where then it's like if you steal something, you will like literally get your hand chopped off, and then I have to see all these fucking dipshit, you know, influencers being like, why is there no crime in the UAE? Dubai's so peaceful. It's like, yeah, dude, you're living like, I don't know, slave labor and like the most like draconian laws on Earth.
Yeah. No, I talked to my friend from Dubai, and when he was done shitting on the chest of like a Instagram influencer he trafficked, he told me about like how great Dubai is.
Yeah.
It's just shut the fuck up. Anyway, this last line of this paragraph just is nuts.
I love it.
In Tehran,
thank you, Matthias Dupfner, for pure AI fire.
Yeah, in Tehran, the cynical abuse of the civilian population in Gaza as human shields is also cold-bloodedly conceived and financed.
Wait. Can you read that sentence again? That made no sense to me.
In Tehran, the cynical abuse of the civilian population in Gaza as human shields is also cold-bloodedly conceived and financed. So he's like,
okay, so
it's
he's
Iran's
talking about
fault that Hamas uses human shields.
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Like a discussion that I thought everyone had fucking abandoned because it was just so. Just like at this point, it was like, what, 2 years into fucking Israel committing a genocide.
Also,
like, shut the fuck up, man.
Also has never been proven either. Just like that's the other weird one. You know who does love using human shields though is Israel. You know who also has an illegal nuclear program that only got accidentally disclosed by like a member of the Knesset in like the 90s is Israel.
Who was then like honeypotted in Italy and then kidnapped.
Israel's also
like I'm Matthias Dupfner. Who gives a shit about Italian sovereignty? Those fucking pasta eaters. God, like it's just they're just going to fuck it up. They're going to fuck it up for themselves. I don't think they realize they're going to fuck it up for themselves. How
does our boy end off this 3-paragraph banger? I love it. I haven't heard terminology like this in such a long time. You're right. It feels like I'm like in 2002.
Yeah. So I've got 2 like choice paragraphs here that I want to bring up. He continues on. But Israel is only the first target. Once Israel falls, Europe and America will be the focus. Radical Sunni and Shia Islamism has been preparing for this for decades. The fatwa against Salman Rushdie, 9/11, the attack in Paris, the caliphate of ISIS, each event was a warning sign.
Okay, wait. So I want to go through each one of those individually and describe why I think that they're good.
I also love, all right,
Salman Rushdie getting attacked. That man is disgusting and deserved it. I'm sorry. I don't even I know the person who attacked him was like a fucking radical Islamist or whatever. That man has made a career of being one of the most racist men on earth. I don't care. When they're, freedom of speech. No, that man is just a racist. You know, so first off,
at the same time,
9/11, you don't need to ask us twice. Great job. Phenomenal work, CIA. You managed to do the greatest terrorist attack in human history. I got nothing. I mean, come on. Like, we all know that was a fucking, it's iffy. What was the other one? ISIS?
Attacks of Paris and the Caliphate of ISIS.
Okay, those bad, but ISIS is an Israeli asset, so...
But it's also just like, I do love the idea of comparing ISIS's control of, like, Iraq and Syria, wdon't they did like
to
a
the country that was fighting them.
Yeah, sure, but shut up! Don't bring that up.
Yeah, God forbid,
But even just like comparing that, like the horrific things they did to like the Yazidi people, the Kurds, historical monuments just like destroyed. And erased. And it's like that's as bad as like this weird magician getting attacked. And like, I don't know, man. I think maybe that's worse. I don't really think those things are equivalent.
Wait,
anyway,
is
he's going on to say
Rushdie a magician to you?
I think so. Yeah, he's kind of a magician.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
I don't know. Why is he famous?
Because he wrote a bunch of really racist books about Islam.
Yeah.
But I like your idea more so that he's a magician rather than an actual, like,
who am I thinking of?
I don't know, but I like it better.
Yeah. No, I like the idea. But in my mind, he was a magician, and like that one crazy Islamic guy was just like, no, magic is haram.
Yeah.
Because like nothing about Salman Rushdie has ever been particularly compelling to me, so I think I just tuned out all the time.
He's just really racist. That's why conservatives fucking love him. That's it. It's just
don't worry,
he's racist. He's oh my god, a racist Indian man. Can you imagine? I've never thought of that concept before.
No, all I've heard is actually India's lying. I don't know if you saw the IDF pissed off the Indians on Twitter.
Oh no, not their most loyal allies.
Because they did the one cardinal sin, because they posted a map showing like, oh, here's the range of Iranian missiles, and to try and like scare everyone or whatever. And in it they included like the wrong map of
that's right
India.
Yeah, and all the like all those Indians that pretend that they're living in Tel Aviv, which there's probably more fake Indians living in Tel Aviv via the internet than there are actual people in the entire nation of Israel. So I love this. Like,
yeah, can't believe they're breaking up. Anyway,
I do love the ones that then, just on a quick note of, there is like, I think this is like a dead era of Twitter, but you would have the Indian Zionists who would just have like a picture of Hitler as their like Twitter avi. Like
so after he lists all those things, each of those was a warning sign. He says, only those who did not want to see the signs are surprised today. The attacks are directed against our values or our way of life.
No, most of those are ops. One of them was a targeted assassination against a person.
It's also a weird assessment of what's happening, because I don't think anyone is surprised. Like, surprise is not an emotion I've encountered, even with people who are like pro-Israeli. Like, no one is surprised. Like, they attacked Iran, which they've always wanted to do. And even if you're like, oh, it's preemptive, it's justified nuclear program, blah, 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 you're still like, it's not surprising. And then Iran attacked back. Like, none of this is surprising. Surprising is just a like stupid way to describe your opponents. No one's surprised. Anyway. So
I do genuinely just love that everyone forgets that Iran was the biggest force against ISIS.
Yeah. No, that you're not no, shut up. You're not allowed to do that. Iran didn't attack ISIS. The Americans liberated Auschwitz. Don't worry about it. Don't talk about any of the uncomfortable allies that we made.
JFK's head just did that.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Sometimes presidents' heads explode. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, because they have the Catholic chip in them.
Yeah, he was too Catholic.
He was too Catholic. That's why Joe Biden's brains melted, because his Catholic
Yeah,
chip.
they've just perfected the technology to like have less blowback on like
Yeah,
Jackie Kennedy or whatever.
How does our boy?
We got to protect the beautiful women.
Yeah, beautiful women of the United States. How does Matthias wrap this up, and therefore then also wrap up our Corner Späti episode?
Yeah. Okay. So, oh my God, he wraps up in a beautiful way. I need to get this last paragraph though. One other paragraph here. If the perpetrator-victim reversal that has been repeatedly observed since October 7th applies even in the most obvious case, Iran, then this can only be interpreted to mean that we are in the process of losing the culture war, which in reality has long since become a war of civilizations. So just outright just saying.
Thanks, Samuel Huntington. What year is this?
But actually, he mixes it up. A little bit of a Politico.eu magic comes into this Politico.com article. Opening a sentence, and we seem to have no problem with that. It is what Michel Houellebecq called submission in his visionary novel 10 years ago. If anyone doesn't remember that fucking great replacement French bullshit.
Literal Nazi book.
God damn, about like France electing a Muslim party that makes France Muslim and like just great point. I don't think Matthias Döpfner has read the book. I think he saw the trailer.
I think AI read the book for him. Yeah.
Just God damn it. Okay, so last two paragraphs. They're short.
Go on, yeah.
That is why America and Europe, in their own interests alone, must stand united with Israel and do everything in their power to ensure that this historic liberation is achieved of like Iran, I guess. As also like this, he also kind of espouses a domino effect with Russia and China.
Oh, Skazmos, what the fuck are you talking about?
No,
these are three. These countries only are allies just by like that. They hate the West.
And even like the way I saw Putin meeting with a bunch of like Israeli representatives recently.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's
not.
just
Yeah,
like,
Russia's not like on the anti-Israel thing. There's too many fucking Russians that live in Israel.
Yeah. No. He was just like so obsequious. It was like, yeah. Anyway, here we go. He does like 2016 or 2014 style Twitter post at the end. This morning, my son asked me a question. In the near future, will Israel become more like us, living in peace, or will we become more like Israel? It depends. It depends on us. I don't know, man. I think like ISIS is snapping.
Did Ruth Conda forever. Hell yeah.
Yeah, ISIS is ISIS. ICE is fucking snatching like Chilean tourists off the street of New York and abandoning their children in the city. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I think the ship has sailed and like us becoming more like Israel.
Will Israel be as safe as us? I'm a dumb whittle baby. I'm Matthias Döpfner's whittle stupid fucking internet child. No, you can't. You can't post like that. Doesn't he know? Doesn't he know? That's just the big. That's like everyone knows you're lying. Then, oh, my son came and asked me, Daddy, isn't Donald Trump violating the Constitution?
Yeah. The greatest satire of that was during like the BLM riots, and it was just like that. Like my son turned to me and asked, like, "Do any of these people vote?" He's 43. I hate him. What? Shut the fuck up, Matthias Döpfner. Your son did not ask you that. Your son is on TikTok. He fucking hates you. He's into like. Also, yeah,
your son is probably older than me. Like Matthias Döpfner's in his like late 60s or whatever. Like, oh, my whittle baby son who's 34 years old asked me, "Daddy, will Israel be nice like us?"
I have to Matthias Döpfner's son. I'll put it in Zon. Let's do the German.
Yeah, he's fucking 27 years old and works at like some dumb, stupid startup in Rosenthaler Platz.
Oh, I found him on LinkedIn.
How old is he?
Well, he's got a LinkedIn. I think that should tell
7
you.
years old, right? He's a young, he's a young startup visionary.
Moritz Dupfner.
Yeah, Moritz Dupfner, 37 years. Does he probably has no hair.
I sent you a picture.
Oh, thank you. All right, I'm gonna
on Telegram there.
Oh, bro, stop it. No. You can't. This man. I've had this conversation with so many people of that German men for some fucking reason like just look permanently like children. This man is like they're simultaneously 42 and 13 at the same time.
This guy, okay, for added context, this guy is clearly in his, I would say, early 30s.
Yeah. But he's not nearly as sexy as we are. My God.
No, God, no.
Jesus Christ. Oh, Daddy, we are going to be nice with us one day. I'm 37 years old.
Like, shut up, get a real job, son. This guy, this guy works at a startup that's parent company is fucking Axel Springer.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Anyway.
This is disgusting.
I love when he writes an article. I think he's so good at them. I don't care that he probably offloaded that to ChatGPT or whatever the fuck.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Oh, God, he rocks. I love
Anyway.
that he controls the entire German media ecosystem.
Hey, Iran, if you are listening, feel free to strike Checkpoint Charlie where the Axel Springer offices are. Nothing of value.
Nothing of value there. No one cares. It's,
you can do it on a weekend or after like 5 p.m. on a weekday. There will be no one there.
Yeah. Sunday. It's a day of rest in Germany. You know, I know that then for Islam, it's Friday. So perfect. Lines up.
There's a pretty good cafe there, but they close by 3. It'd be grand.
Yeah. Didn't the RAF like attack the Axel Springer like headquarters at one point? I think they did.
I thought they kidnapped someone from there.
They did a bunch of really cool stuff. I can't,
The
salute.
radical.
The best
Iranian
RAF thing ever
front?
is when they kidnapped a mayoral candidate of Berlin during the election, and the results were done while he was in RAF custody in a basement in Kreuzberg.
We cut to the live reaction from the mayor's party.
Yeah.
Didn't he also force the RAF forced Ursula von der Leyen's parents to flee to London?
Yes. They Ursula von der Leyen moved to London because they were afraid that her parents were afraid that their children would be targets for the RAF. I wonder why. Don't look into it.
Yeah, Germans kind of admitting maybe they're, what we all know about people with von in their last name. Yeah. Anyway, with that, we will catch you.
Yeah,
on
signing
the
off
feed.
from Ciarán.
Yeah, and again, hey, use promo code Corner Späti to get 20% off your Coinbase, whatever the fuck that works.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.